All right, so real fast, we have looked at 3 different types of factoring so far. So if we have 3x squared plus 6x, what can I do to factor that?
You can find the greatest common factor.
I can find the greatest common factor. What is the greatest common factor?
Probably 3x.
3x. So when I take that out, I do 3x squared divided by 3x, which gives us... Then we have 6x divided by 3x, which gives us 2. So that is a greatest common factor example. We have also looked at binomials like this. What is that?
That's a square.
Difference of squares, yes. What squares to give us 4x squared?
2x.
What squares to give us 81?
9.
To get a negative, what signs do I need? Okay, that's one method. Okay, now, another method we've looked at is when we have 4 terms. I'm trying to think of a 4-term example off the top of my head, and that's a problem. Okay, what if we look at 3x squared plus 2x squared plus 7x plus 7?
You gotta split it down the middle and then solve it.
I don't know if this will work, actually. I don't think this does work, does it?
I don't know.
Where did I get 3 from? Oh, that's because that doesn't need to be there. Okay.
Let's just solve.
There we go. All right. What do I do for this one?
Split it down the middle.
What do I need to group?
The 2x squared and 2x squared.
Okay, and if I group those, what can I take out of them?
Everything.
Not really everything, though, but what can I actually... Oh, that's supposed to be an x to the third. That is my bad, y'all. So what can I take out?
2x squared.
2x squared. When I divide 2x to the third power divided by 2x squared, what do I get left with?
You give x.
What is anything divided by itself?
Just 1.
Okay, then if I group the second half, what's the GCF of the second half?
7.
What will that leave us with?
X.
Plus 1. Now, what do I do?
You gotta put everything, like, you gotta use it.
2x squared plus 7 in parentheses, then in parentheses x plus 1.
So I take what's the same, and then I take what's left over. And that tells me my factored form.
Does it matter which order?
Because when you multiply, it all goes to the same place. All right. So that's the strategies we've looked at so far. We've factored binomials. We've factored 4-term polynomials. So today we're going to start looking at trinomials. What does it mean to have a trinomial?
I might have 3 of them.
There's going to be 3 terms.
Yeah.
All right. So whenever we are looking at a trinomial, okay, we are typically going to be looking at quadratic trinomials. What does it mean to be quadratic again?
The highest is the power 4.
Not power 4, power 2. Okay, so we are going to look at polynomials in the form of ax squared plus bx plus c. Okay, this is all on your paper.
No.
Yeah, it is. It's over on the side.
Oh.
If you're on 7.4c, it is over to the side. All right, when we look at this, okay, when I say what is a, we look at what is in front of x squared. When I say what is b, we look at what's in front of x. Then what is c is just what our constant is at the end. We are talking about the coefficients of terms. Okay. Now, y'all's paper. Okay, we have steps right here of what we need to do. Okay. Unfortunately, when I edited this so that it would be what it needs to say, I didn't save that on my file. And so my file says something differently, okay? Because there's multiple ways to go about factoring these types of problems. Most of them rely on tricks and like little math tricks and stuff like that may not work every single time. Or if they do, they don't really have like a math reason why they occur that way. And so that is why we are looking at the method we're looking at, which is why I changed the directions, because it's the one that shows the math the best. All right, so on your paper, you have step 1. It says multiply A times C to find the factors of this number that add to B. When it says to B there, that is supposed to be the letter B, not the word B. I made a typo. I apologize. You can scratch out the word, like the E. Okay, then we're going to rewrite the trinomial using those factors. Then we're going to factor by grouping. Okay, so the biggest thing that we need to be able to do is identify our A, B, and C. Okay, so if I gave you this right here, what is A? It's just the 5. Okay, it's just the number in front. It's just the coefficient. So what is A?
5.
What is B?
3.
-3. We take the sign with it. What is C? 7. All right, now we're actually going to look at example 1 on our papers. Yes. Yes. Okay. Now, as we do this, I'm going to show us 2 different ways we can show our thinking. You are welcome to use either. Okay. One of them is the way that I've done since I was in high school, and another one is a way that some of the other teachers here do it. Either way works. Okay. As long as you understand what things say, we're good. So, in this problem, we have to figure out what A, B, and C are. So what is A?
2.
A is 2. What is our B? What is C?
3.
Okay, that's step 1. Now, we have to figure out what multiplies to give us A times C. So what is A times C? 6. Okay. So the ways we can set this up. Do y'all remember the X game, Delta Math that we've been doing?
I hate that.
I like it.
Okay.
I don't understand.
What multiplies to give us A times C is what goes at the top. So what was A times C?
2 times 3 is
6. All right. Then what is our B?
5.
So we have to show what multiplies to give us 6, but adds to give us 5. The other way that we can think that through is we can say what times what gives us 6, and what plus what gives us 5.
So wouldn't it be like
Okay, either way works. What are the factors of 6?
1 and 6 and 2?
And 2 and 3. Okay, to multiply to get a positive number, I can either have positive, 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 or negative, negative, right? So in this case, do I need positive, positive, or negative, negative?
Oh, it's 3 and 2.
Positive, positive. So if I say 6 plus 1, what do we get?
6. Oh, wait. 6 plus
So that doesn't work, right? What about 2 plus 3? That works. So we have 2 and we have 3. Okay, or we can say 2 times 3 gives us 6, but 2 plus 3 gives us 5. Either way works. Now, we take those 2 factors we just found and we rewrite the polynomial. Yes, ma'am?
Why is it just why isn't it 5 2? Why is it just 2 and 3 that we have to figure out?
Because we already know this is found from doing A times C, right? And then the 5 comes from just the B. So we know that information.
So when you have a problem like that, you just do A plus B. I mean A plus C
A times C.
times C. That's your top.
That's the top. And then B is the bottom.
Okay.
All right, now, we have to rewrite that polynomial. So instead of saying 2x squared plus 5x, we're going to use those two numbers we just found. So we're going to do plus 2x plus 3x, and then just bring down our c, plus 3. How many terms does that have now?
4.
Do I know how to factor 4 terms?
Yes.
So I group the first two. To group the first two, what is our GCF?
2x.
When I divide 2x squared by 2x, what do I get?
I get 8.
What about 2x divided by 2x?
1.
All right, if I group the last two, what's the GCF?
3.
3x divided by 3 is? And 3 divided by 3 is? 1. We just rewrite the 5 from the 2 that we use right here to get 5. Yep. All right, now what is the same? And then what is left over? And so that right there is our answer in factored form. The hardest part of this isn't the actual factoring. It's figuring out the numbers we need here. That's the hardest part, which is why I had us do so many of those X game on Delta Math. Okay?
I still don't understand that. Like, I don't know how to do it fast.
And you may not ever get there, and that's okay.
Like, I'm in my calculator, I'm typing every number.
That's a strategy. It's just being familiar with your times tables and just getting better at it. The more you do it, the better you'll get.
Don't you just find the factor and multiply and see?
All right, so let's look for number 2.
I need to Google.
Okay? So for number 2, what is A?
5.
What is B?
17.
Negative 17. We got to make sure we take that. And what is C?
6.
Okay, so what I need to do is I have to figure out what multiplies to give me A times C. What is A times C? What was that?
2.
Okay, and then what adds to give me B? What is B? All right, to multiply and get a positive number, I either need a positive positive or a negative negative. Which one do I need in this problem? Negative negative. So I have to add to get a negative number. Okay, I'm saying what multiplies to give me 30 and what adds to give me negative 17. What are my factors of 30?
1 and 30.
Can I use 1 and 30 to get there? 2 and? Can I use those? Okay, so negative 2 and negative 15. So we're going to rewrite this. So we will get 5m squared minus 2m. That's what we got right there when we multiply to get a positive. It's saying negative 2 plus negative 15. So it's just negative 2 minus 15. All right. 15m plus 6. What can I group?
Did we just get rid of the 17?
We don't get rid of the 17. The 17 becomes these two numbers. So what can we group?
Those two and then
5m squared plus negative 2.
Okay, what's the GCF of those two?
M.
M. Okay, so when I divide out an m, what is 5m squared divided by m?
5m.
What is 2m, negative 2m divided by m?
Minus 2.
For the second half, we have negative 15m plus 6. What is our GCF? Not just 3, but we need to take out a. If we have a negative in front, we factor out a negative with it. So we would take out a negative 3. What is negative 15m divided by negative 3?
That's 5.
Positive 5m. What is 6 divided by negative 3? What's the same? What's different?
Yeah, minus.
And there we go. That is our answer. All right, so what I'm going to do with the next few examples is I'm going to do either this method for organizing or this one, but I'm not going to do both anymore, okay? You can pick the one you prefer and you do that one. I'm going to show both just until we get more comfortable. All right, for number 3, what is A?
Oh, 6.
What is C?
4. Negative 4.
What is A times C then?
Negative 24.
What is our B? To multiply and get a negative number, what signs do we need? Positive and a negative. Negative and a positive. The order does not matter. Okay. Now, what are our factors of 24?
We got 1 and 24.
Now, can I combine 1 and 24 in any way to get 5?
No.
Can I combine 2 and 12 in any way to get 5? 3 and 8?
Yes.
How would I go about doing that?
Negative 8 plus
Negative 8, positive 3. And then we rewrite. So we do 6y squared minus 8y plus 3y minus 4. I have to bring some WD-40 for this chair. It's too squeaky. All right, group the first two. What is our GCF for the first two?
2y.
So if I take out a 2y, what is 6y squared divided by 2y? What is negative 8y divided by 2y? Negative 4. All right, for the second half of this, what is our GCF? 1. That's it. So we just do plus 1.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Whenever we did 8 divided by, or negative 8 divided by 2 y, we don't do y.
Because y divided by y makes the y part.
Oh, and then we put the other one because it's squared.
Mm-hmm. All right. So when we take out a 1, what is 3y divided by 1? What is negative 4 divided by 1? So what is the same? And what's left over? There we go. That is our answer. All right. Now we're going to look at example 4. Okay, for example 4, what is A?
12.
What is C?
Negative 5.
What is A times C?
Negative 6.
What is our B?
11.
So we have to figure out what multiplies to give us negative 60, but adds to give us 11. To multiply and get a negative, what signs do I need? Negative and a positive. So factors of 60 are 1 and 60. Can we get 1 and 60 to get to 11? 2 and 30. 3 and 20. 4 and 15. Okay, which one do I need to be positive and which one needs to be negative? So negative 15, positive 4, that would give us negative 11. So what do I actually need? And then we're going to do 12c squared minus 4c plus 15c minus 5. And then we group. For the first two's group, what's our GCF? Not just 4, but 4, which will leave us with?
Negative.
Mm-hmm. For the second half, what is our GCF?
5.
Okay, what is that going to leave us with?
15.
So what's the same? And then what's left over? All right. So how do we feel about this so far? It's not too bad. The only part of it that's really hard is that beginning part, finding those factors. Okay? If we do that part, the rest of it is pretty easy. Okay? It's just the part, which is why I assigned so many of the X game things on
I
Delta
never
Math.
finished any of them because there was too many questions.
Because if we can do those, everything else is easy. Okay? We just got to get that part down. So on the back, for number 1, okay, what is A?
3.
What is C? What is A times C? What is B?
Negative 11.
So we're going to do 1 and 30. Can that work? 2 and 15. Does that work? 3 and 10. Does that work? What else is there?
96.
Well, what's the other ones just for funsies?
What are these numbers we're doing on the side here? What is this?
Yeah, I don't actually.
Okay, 1 times 30 gives us 30.
Okay.
2 times 15 gives us 30.
Uh,
3 times 10 gives us 30. 4 can't go into 30, right? And then 5 times 6 gives us 30. I just work my way through all the numbers if I don't know. Okay, if I look at it and I don't know, I just go through all the numbers until I find one that does work. So for 5 and 6 to work, what signs do we need?
positive and negatives.
I need what?
Oh wait, you need both negatives.
Both negatives. Okay, so then we do 3x squared minus 5x minus 6x minus 11. What can I group? Or it's plus 10, isn't it? Oops, my bad. Good catch. I was just testing, y'all. I didn't make a mistake. That was on purpose. All right. From here, what is our GCF of the first two? It is just x. When we take out that x, what is that going to leave us with? 3x minus 5. Okay. For the second half, what is our GCF? Not just 2, but negative 2. If there is a negative in front, we go ahead and take that negative out. It will be 3x minus 5.
Oh, mine.
Then what's the same? And what's left over?
X minus 2.
Yes, ma'am.
Wouldn't it matter if you put the negative 6 first?
So if you do these correctly and you have the right factors, it will not matter the order you put them in. Okay, you can do it either way. Your final answer will still be the same thing. You will just have different GCFs. All right, for number 3, what is A?
9.
What is C?
Negative 2.
What is A times C?
Negative 2.
What is our B?
3.
So in order to multiply and get a negative, I need what? Negative and a positive. So 18, I have 1 and 18. Can 1 and 18 give me 3?
No.
I have 2 and 9. Can that give me 3? I have 3 and 6. Can that give me 3? How do I need to use those?
Negative 6, right? No, not at all.
Negative 3 plus 6.
Negative 3 and a positive 6. So I rewrite this as 9m squared minus 3m plus 6m minus 2.
Wait, I got a question. What if when you're writing that, you switch the 6m and minus?
That is perfectly fine. We can get the same answer either way. So just for funsies on this one, you do not have to do both, but I'm going to show both. Okay? For the first order, we group the first two. What is our GCF there?
3.
3m. So when I take out 3m out of that, what do I get left with?
3.
1. And then for the second half of that, what's our GCF? 2. Okay, 6m divided by 2 is? Negative 2 divided by 2 is? So then what's the same? What's left over? All right, now do the same thing for the second one. Group the first two together. What's the GCF of that, though? 3m. Okay, which will leave us with 3m plus 2. And then the GCF for the second half is just going to be what? Negative 1. Okay, because again, that's got a negative in front, so I'm going to have to take out a negative, and then the only thing that is in common between 3 and 2 is 1. It'd be 3m plus 2. Okay, what's the same? Three m minus 1. So either way, we get the same answer. It's just we're going to get it in different orders. And I do not care the order the answer is in. As long as you have both parentheses, you're good to go. Okay? So for number 5, what is A? What is C? What is A times C? What is B? What factors can multiply to give you 4 but add to give you negative 4? Negative 2 and negative 2. So we do 4a squared minus 2a minus 2a plus 1. So group them. What's our first GCF? So 4a squared divided by 2a is going to leave us with? Negative 2a divided by 2a is going to leave us with? For the second half, what is my GCF? Negative 1. Negative 2a divided by negative 1 is?
How's that negative 1?
Hmm? Because it starts with a negative, so I've got to pull out a negative. And then the only thing that can go into 2 and 1 is just 1. So we get 2a. 1 divided by negative 1 is? Negative 1. What is the same? What is left over?
2a minus.
All right. Now, what do you notice about those two things?
They're the same.
They're the same. So I can also write my answer as 2a minus 1 squared.
That's it.
All right. So I want y'all to work on 2, 4, and 6 for me real
You
quick.
said 2 what?
2, 4, and 6.
So,
Do those even problems next to it. And if you need help, raise your hand and I will be there.
What's 6 times 12?
Do what, Randy?
6 times 12.
6 times 12 is negative 72. It's negative 12. I was looking at the board. Some things that it helps me to remember, okay, is if I am doing this and I have to multiply to get a positive and add to get a positive, everything else will be positive. If I have to multiply to get a positive, but add to get a negative, everything else will be negative. If I have to multiply to get a negative, I'll have one positive and one negative, and the bottom can be either. And that right there is kind of like, it's going to be that, like it's going to be one of those three options.
So like, does it depend on the bottom? Except for that one.
Except for this one. This one will depend on the top. If the top one is negative, it will be negative and positive regardless. But if the top one is positive, the bottom one determines the sign. All right. Okay, and for the last 10 minutes, I want us to talk about the bottom section, okay? The bottom section gives us examples with GCFs. And what we're going to do is we're going to show the two different ways you can go about doing one of these problems. Okay, so the first method is to check for a GCF first. Is there a GCF that goes into 10, 75, or 35? 5. So I'm going to take that GCF out. What is 10k squared divided by 5? 2k squared. What is 75k divided by 5? 15k. Okay, what is 35 divided by 5? 7. So one of the pros for taking out a GCF first is you're going to deal, if you have a GCF, it'll give you smaller numbers to work with. Okay, so once we do that, I know immediately that my answer, whatever my answer will be, is going to have a 5 in front. Okay, I know that. And now I just factor the inside of it. So to do this part, I do that like normal. What is A? What is C? 7. So A times C is? And B is? Okay. What factors can multiply to give me 14 but add to give me 15? 14 and 1. So then we just do what we've been doing. So 2k squared plus 1k plus 14k plus 7. And then I group. Group the first two. What's my GCF? Which will leave me with? If I group the last two, what's my GCF? 2k plus 1. And then what's the same? And so that right there is my final answer. It just has the 5 in front. Okay, that's one method to do this. Okay, take your GCF out first and then just put it with your answer. Okay, pros of that gives you smaller numbers. And then, you know. Now, B, the second method for number 8. We can just leave our numbers from the, looking at that, I know I have a GCF. What is the GCF? Okay, we don't have to take that out if we don't want to yet. If I just start and do it like normal, what is A?
12.
What is C? So A times C is?
Negative 24.
Okay, what is B?
2. Okay.
What factors of negative 24? So negative 24, so that means what signs I need? One of each. What do I need? Which factors? 1 and 24, 2 and 12, 3 and 8, 4 and 6.
4 and 6.
Which one needs to be positive? Which one needs to be negative?
6 needs to be positive.
And no. So then we do 12x squared minus 4x plus 6x minus 2. Group and group. What is the first GCF?
4.
Which will leave us with
3x.
minus 1. And the second half's GCF is? So that'll leave us with? All right. What part is the same? Yes.
Is the C negative?
It is.
And what?
Yeah, that's how we got the A to be negative. A times C.
But for the 2, when you put the 2 on the bottom, it's positive. When you put the
Oh,
negative,
no, because right here, this is a positive 6. So you take out a positive number. Whatever is in front right there will determine the sign of your second GCF. So even though this part is negative, this part's positive, so we just leave it alone.
I'm talking about the X thing. Y is. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm thinking.
Because the B is also 2.
I was thinking it was C. I'm sorry.
Okay, it's okay. So do 3x minus 1. And then what's left over? Can I take a GCF out of 3x minus 1? No. Can I take a GCF out of 4x plus 2? 2. And so 4x divided by 2 would be 2x. 2 divided by 2 is 1. You can take your GCF just out at the end if you would like. It is entirely up to you. I do not care which way you do it. Personally, I like taking GCFs out first just because it gives you smaller numbers to deal with. Okay? But doing it the second way, nothing wrong with that either. Okay?
Second way looks harder.
It feels harder just because your numbers are bigger, and then you have to remember to do it at the end. I always look at it and check for GCFs immediately. That's the first step I do with any factoring problem is I just look at it and go, do I have a GCF? Yes. Take it out. No. Okay, go on to my next thing. But the first thing I ask myself every time I have a factoring problem is, hey, do I have a GCF? And if I do, I take it out. Okay? Yeah, we'll pick up there tomorrow.